So we're going to review functions, and we're going to review how to find the domain and the range of a discrete function. Remember, if something is a function, then the x's don't repeat. Or we could say that the x's were all different. Either way is the same thing. The x's are all different. So if we look at these two examples here, since we don't really need to pay attention to the y's because we're just focused on the x's, I'm going to circle all the x's. My x's are 4, 6, 3, and -4. Since 4, 6, 3, and -4 are all different, then yes, this is a function. If we look at the next one, I have x's of -3, 5, 2, and -3. Notice that I have two -3's here. There's one of my -3's, and there's my other -3. So since there was two -3's, that tells us that this is not a function. When you look at a mapping, you only pay attention to what is in the left circle. That's all you look at, is what is in the left circle, because this circle represents our x's and the right circle represents our y's. So we're, again, only paying attention to what's in the left circle here. So again, we have two different examples. And to determine if something is a function, we look at the lines that are coming from them. So if you look at this first one up here, there's a line coming from 1. Notice there are two lines coming from 2 and one line coming from 3. Since there were two lines coming from 2, that tells us this is not a function. If I look at the next one, notice there is a line coming from 1, a line coming from 2, a line coming from 3, and a line coming from 4. Since there was only one for each of those, then yes, this is a function. When I look at a graph, I am doing what's called the vertical line test. The vertical line test says that I draw a vertical line like this, and if it touches the graph more than once, so if it touches the graph in two different places, it's not a function. If I draw the vertical line and it only touches the graph one time, it is a function. So if I look at this example up here, the one at the top, if I draw a vertical line, it touched that point just once, just the graph once, just once, just once, just once. So this is a function. If I look at the second graph, if I draw a vertical line here, notice it touched the graph at 2 points. It touched here and here. So that means no, this is not a function. And again, the vertical line test comes into play on this one. So if I draw on the graph on the left, if I keep drawing vertical lines, every time I draw a vertical line, it only touches my graph at 1 point. You can see these points here. So that tells us that this is a function. If I look at the graph on the right, if I draw a vertical line, notice that it touched the graph here and here. So that tells us that this is not a function. For this last question, we're going to find the domain and the range of this function. This is a discrete function, so recall that if it's discrete, we can write it with our fancy bracket in the middle to help us remember that our domain is going to be enclosed in a fancy bracket, as is our range. Easiest thing to do to find our domain and range is to figure out what our points are. So if we look at our graph, this point right here, if this is 0, 0, then this first point over here at the left is where I'm going to start. I have to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my point is -5 because I went to the left. And then I have to go down 1, 2, 3, 4. So the ordered pair is -5, -4. For the next point, which is the point here, starting from 0, 0, I have to go over 1, 2, 3. And then I don't move, so this is the ordered pair -3, 0. Looking at our next point up here, starting from 0, 0, I go left 1, so that tells me it's going to be at -1. And then I have to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So its ordered pair is -1, 6. If I move to this point over here to the right, starting at 0, 0, I go right 1, 2, and then I go up 2. So this ordered pair is the ordered pair 2, 2. And lastly, this point here, starting from 0, I go to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't move up or down at all, so this is the ordered pair 5, 0. So as I write down my domain, I look at all of my x values. -5, -3, -1, 2, and +5. So those are my values of my domain. -5, -3, -1, 2, and 5. For my range, I look at all of my y values, which were -4, 0, +6, +2, and 0. Notice that there's 2 zeros. There's a 0 here and a 0 here. I don't have to write 0 twice. I only have to write it once. So my range is -4, 0, 6, and 2.